moon base stood white and lonely, half buried in dust older than any memory. Its domes gleamed under the cold gaze of Earthlight, like pale, unblinking eyes watching the sky. Inside, the soft hum of machines replaced the chirping crickets they once knew back on Earth. A man brewed coffee in the tiny galley, staring at the blue sphere as if waiting for a reply. "Good morning," he whispered, though morning here was just a concept remembered, not lived. In the hydroponics dome, a woman trimmed butter lettuce with deliberate, gentle care. The leaves shone green and vibrant, a stubborn miracle pushing back against the barren grey beyond. She hummed a tune from childhood, pretending the plants nodded along to her rhythm. Sometimes, in the quiet, she imagined they whispered back encouragement. Loneliness on the moon could make anything seem possible, even sentient leaves. Far beneath the base, engineers moved through corridors checking aging oxygen tanks. Each needle's position, each hiss of controlled air was the difference between survival and silence. "One leak," one muttered grimly, "and we're nothing but stories written in the dust." His partner chuckled, low, bitter. "We're already stories," she said, tightening a valve until it hissed no more. Up in the communications tower, a young technician sat alone, eyes scanning the void. He searched for something, voices, signals, even noise to break the endless hush. But all he found was silence, wrapped in static and stars. "Maybe no one's listening," he muttered, his breath fogging the glass. Still, every hour he pressed the button, sending humanity's ghost voice into the dark. Children lived here too, running like wind through tight corridors that echoed with laughter. Their voices rang like bells, cheerful and distant, filling cold metal halls with warmth. In a classroom, a teacher pointed at holographic maps of Earth, her smile gentle. "That's where oceans are," she said, tracing the blue with a trembling finger. One child raised her hand. "What does an ocean feel like?" The cafeteria filled with the faint scent of reheated food packets and artificial spices. People gathered in small groups, their words soft, their jokes quick and dry. Laughter came in flashes, thin as moonlight, and vanished just as fast. One man raised his water pouch solemnly. "To Earth," he said. No one dared echo him. At night, the long corridors fell into an uneasy stillness. Doors sighed shut with soft finality, and lights dimmed to a weary amber. A nurse walked the infirmary slowly, her eyes scanning quiet monitors. She paused beside a bed, empty, yet still perfectly made. The patient had been sent home, sealed inside a steel coffin bound for Earth. In the observatory, an old scientist sat beneath the stars, scribbling notes by hand. "They look closer here," he murmured to himself, his voice brittle with awe. His journal filled with trembling handwriting, each line a final attempt to be remembered. He knew, deep down, history had already forgotten him. Only the moon's silence would recall his name. Then, without warning, the first tremor came. The base shook gently, like something ancient turning in its sleep. Dust drifted from the vents like falling snow. A child screamed in panic, breaking the hush. A mother caught him in her arms, heart pounding. "Just a quake," an engineer said quickly, but his hands shook too. Instruments in the lab twitched with strange spikes and unreadable pulses. "Moonquakes don't do this," a geologist muttered, eyes wide. The captain raised her voice across the intercom. "We'll investigate tomorrow. For now, we hold position, and so Tomorrow came. A rover crawled out across the scarred surface like an insect hunting answers. Its wheels whispered over the dust, leaving perfect silent tracks. 3 astronauts sat inside, breath fogging their faceplates. One pointed ahead. There, a crack. It stretched along the rock, faintly glowing at the edges. This was not sunlight, nor was it Earthlight. It was something else. It's impossible, someone breathed. Yet the glow pulsed, rhythmic, like a slow heartbeat. Back at the base, the children drew in crayon on thin sheets. Some drew Earth, round and distant. Others drew glowing fractures running across the moon's surface. I saw it in my dream, one boy said proudly. The teacher smiled, but her eyes betrayed unease. In engineering, crews patched fractures spidering across the walls. The base moaned with each shift, a living thing in distress. One woman leaned against the steel bulkhead. She swore, quietly, that she heard something inside, whispering, but she told no one. At night, the dreams became louder. A miner thrashed in sleep, dreaming of oceans flowing through his room. A pilot mumbled of blood-red skies and falling stars. A doctor woke in the dark, her hands trembling, covered in imaginary dust. No one mentioned the dreams at breakfast. The captain called a meeting in the main atrium. They gathered, faces drawn, lit in harsh, fluorescent light. "We hold steady," she said, hands clenched. "We survive." Her voice cracked. The word survive hung too long in the air. Outside, Earth rose again, distant and pale. One man stared for hours, tears streaking down his face. "Why does it feel farther?" he whispered. No one answered. Maybe it really was. In the crater, the crack yawned wider, deep and strange. Rovers returned images of spiraling caverns, tunnels that twisted downward in ways that defied geology. Lights flickered faintly from within the dark. "It's hollow," a geologist said, voice dry as dust. A team descended with rope, lights, and trembling hearts. The walls were impossibly smooth, cold to the touch. Symbols glowed faintly, carved into the stone like ancient messages. "These aren't natural," someone whispered. "Then who made them?" another asked, but no one had answers. Back in the base, alarms screamed without warning. Oxygen levels plummeted in one section. Emergency doors sealed instantly, splitting families apart. A mother pounded on the glass, screaming her daughter's name. The girl cried silently, hands pressed to the other side. Far below, the away team heard the alarms echo, faint as memories. "We should go back," one said, but another stepped forward, driven. "We're too close now." His lamp caught the edge of a new chamber. Inside, dozens of statues stood in eerie silence. Human shapes, frozen mid-scream. Their eyes glowed, faint and blue, like the crack itself. "These aren't statues," someone whispered, backing away. Frost bloomed inside her helmet as her breath quickened. Another tremor hit, harder this time. The chamber wall split open, spilling dust and debris. The statues shifted, just slightly. One turned his head. "Run." Back at the base, lights flickered. One by one, domes fell into blackness. Families gathered in corridors, clutching each other. A father told Earth stories to his son in a hushed voice. "I'll dream it for you," the boy said. The captain stood alone in the dark control room, eyes on the blinking comms. Her hand hovered over the switch. If anyone hears this, she said, we are not alone. Silence answered, long and cold. Then something else, a voice. We hear you. It was not human. The bass shook with the weight of its words. Earthlight shimmered once more on cracked glass, and through fear, dust, and darkness, hope still lived.